everyone, my name is Bradley. Welcome back to the channel, Portly Gentlemen. It is great to have you with me here today. Today's video is going to be kind of a two-part deal, or, well, it's a video. Okay, so we are using the BrewBuilt X3 under pressure. We're gonna dry hop with it, put it through its paces. Obviously, if we're using the X3, we're definitely brewing a beer. And today's video, I'm gonna show you guys, you've seen the title, how to make, and we're gonna taste it at the end. This is grain to glass, if you will, of the Best Buds Flash Brewing Kit. This is an awesome little kit, something I'm really passionate about and really enjoy. It's an awesome way to make a pretty good beer really rapidly with minimal work. Now, I'm gonna be really honest up front, as always, unless I forget, which I'll put a comment usually. So More Beer has provided me with this kit to brew, well as the X3 Unitank. I also have that for review and testing, and that's what we're doing. All right, so it's really important. The best way to say thank you to me or any creator is to make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment. It really does help the channel out, and it lets me know that you like what I'm doing. All right, so even another level of transparency here. More Beer has engaged me, and I am working R&D brewing for More Beer on the Flash Brewing product line. So that's something that's new. I am just doing that for them. I do nothing else at this point in time. I just want to be honest. All right, let's jump into the video. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. First things, as always, I start with a no foaming or low foaming cleaner CIP rinse. I'm using the spike pump. I shut it down and open the valve to drain. It's super sweet and super nice. No muss, no fuss. Everything just goes down into a 6-gallon bucket below. Just makes the whole process super clean and reliable. All right, let's look at what comes in the Best Buds Flash Brewing ingredient kit. Obviously, this awesome box full of all the ingredients. Surprise, it comes with this cover sheet, the cutout tap handle if you're into that, as well as nicely written instructions on the back. Definitely, if you're a novice, follow these to the T and you'll be good to go. It comes with Citra and Mosaic cryo hops. These are the best buds and what really make this recipe pop. Here is a hop bite shot. This is good for 30 IBUs of perceived bitterness when injected into 5 gallons of water. Last but not least, actually, here is the Flash yeast. We got one more ingredient, but this is what makes it all happen. This stuff is super awesome. Here is the last but not least. This is a bespoke malt blend just for this kit, and this is where all the magic is. Right now, we are going to get ready. I like to throw on my collection chamber. I wanted to show this part because I made a little mistake here. You notice I'm using a 2-piece tri-clamp when I should be using a 3-piece tri-clamp. This is very bad. You notice I do switch it out and catch it and run the 3-piece. You need the extra clamping force that offers for the plastic components. After that, just get everything tight, make sure it's good. I do like to check the valve, make sure that works and everything is in order. Then I close it. I'll usually do this at the very end. Once the unitank is full, then I will open this up. I'm also running a carbonation stone. Just I run it in the top port. It stirs up less sediment that way, but that's just how I like to do it. You will notice right away that I am on difficulty level maximum. Why am I not using the 8-inch opening? Like I said, difficulty level advanced for sure. Right now I dump in 3 gallons of water, just show you the whole way through. And then I put another 2 gallons on top at the very end. I didn't grab any footage of it, but it's really simple. Then I dump in the yeast, try and get that hydrating. All this takes minutes. I mean, literally 5 minutes, and you are done if you have everything together. Sanitize everything thoroughly, dump the yeast in. Then I start with the hop bite shop, and that same thing. I sanitize everything. Definitely, wait a minute. Definitely remember to pull the cap off. So you don't want that in there. Son of a gun. But yeah, squirt that in there. And then it is time for the dried malt extract. And again, this is pretty unwieldy. This bag is maximum capacity. I think it's got about 6 pounds in it. Any more would just be a nightmare. But anyways, get it in there. If you have an 8-inch opening like I do, use that and not the 4-inch. That difficulty level is set to expert, like I mentioned. And that's it. You'll notice I am not adding in the cryo hops. I'm doing those in the dry hop edition. I think for an advanced user, I think it lends to a better product. That's just my opinion though. All right, now we're just gonna make sure that everything is tight and in order. Make sure I'm good to go for the fermentation. This is going to ferment out relatively quickly. I top up my spooning valve, this BrewBuilt spooning valve, super accurate pressure gradient on there. And now I'm setting my fermentation temp. I'm going to ferment this one guy really, really warm at 90. You'll notice I overshot back down to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and lock that in. I do have cooling and heating enabled on my full setup. And here we are. It's really, that's it. But one more thing, got to open the bottom of the collection chamber. And you notice I've got the spike oxygenation set up. Some of their products I like, some I don't. This is one that I absolutely have come to really enjoy. Super user friendly. It's not bespoke, but Spike has done a nice job. And the oxygenation actually got me somewhere. And you'll see 24 hours later, not even the next morning, this is what I saw. I had a little bit of an active fermentation. The internal volume, I think I had about 5.1 or 5.2 gallons. Went a little over 5 just because I'm Bradley. But you'll see it got up and got after it. I really do think it was the oxygenating. Turns out oxygen is good. So it's something to remember, not necessary, but it's easy to do. That was all the mess. I just cleaned it, wiped it out, refilled it, and you'll notice here we are good to go. I turned back the pressure a little bit and just started spooning. You notice we are there at 90 Fahrenheit still. There's my pressure. Somewhere around 10, 11 PSI is right where I want to be, and just enjoy it. This guy fermented out pretty quickly. I believe I was completely done fermenting in about 3 days. So it all just worked out really, really well. Next up, it's time to get those cryo hops in. I let them sit in there for 3 days, and this is a 3-day hop drop dry hopping session. I'm using the BrewBuilt Hop Bong. This is a really awesome piece of kit. So you see me dumping the hops in, taking my time, making sure I get every last one in there. It's not a massive charge. Again, cryo hops, you don't have all that vegetal material, so they're really good. They don't soak up a lot of beer or wort. In this application, they are perfect. Just get them in there, and then it's time for something that I do excessively, and I love it, CO2 purging. I think it looks absolutely cool on video, and it's oddly satisfying. But first, get everything tightened up, make sure you're good to go, and CO2 purge. Now, I will say, in between these purges, I'm actually waiting about a minute or two for the first several to make sure that I get all the oxygen out. And I really just go to town and purge it well. I go over the top. I think it's actually just worthwhile. Oxygen is bad at this point. You don't want to oxidize. So now it's one last purge. Then I'll let that kind of fill up with CO2 again. I'm at a higher pressure than my tank. Then drop the hops. It's that simple. Rock it back and forth just to make sure there's nothing caught in there, which there usually isn't with a smaller charge like this. And that's it. You can see that extra gas getting pushed out. I look, if there's any oxygen in there, it's in the top, and it will be pushed out. But now it's cold crashed, and you'll notice we are drippy condensation on the outside of this thing. Super cold. My chiller in this instance is probably set somewhere around 33 degrees, which is pretty cold. Everything's settled out here. I didn't wind up using the oxygenation stone, the CO2 stone, the carbonation stone in this instance, just because it seemed like a pain in the butt. So I want to show you, if you do want to rack off the bottom of the X3, that 3-inch tri-clamp butterfly valve at the bottom holds a lot more material than the 2-inch valves. So I do like to kind of drain and let loose this bottom most point on the collection chamber. Don't unscrew this totally, because it's odd. This thing will kind of burp even when it's open to atmosphere under no pressure. So I like to let it sit for a few minutes and really let it go, because it does tend to burp. It's a strange phenomenon. But you can see here, just let stuff gloop out so you have room. This is if you wanted to go ahead and dump that and harvest yeast or something. Now it's time, guys, we are transferring into a keg. This is the Oxbar 20-liter keg I'm using. Just hooked up my line. Obviously, the tank is hooked up to CO2. It's about time to kick on the spooning valve. You hear this guy light up and start releasing pressure. That means now we are transferring oxygen free in not really closed loop, because I'm venting the keg, but the keg was purged of air as well. And that's it. Literally, it's time to condition. I'll let this guy condition for a further about 5-6 days. This will continue to get better and better. So without further ado, let's jump into the tasting, because I can assure you this one has smelled amazing nearly the entire time I was brewing it. All right, guys, it is time to try this beer. See what I've been going on about. See if it's any good. I've got it here in the BrewCursion cooler. Look out for this video. Right now I'm getting ready to go camping and it's got to be tested. So we'll get a beer. Oh yeah, look at that. At this time, everybody, this is about 10 days old from start to actually right now, maybe even a little bit less. So it does still need the condition, and these always get better, like any beer, with time. This guy will clear up, and it will taste a little bit crispier. That was my experience with the Citra session. Again, we'll go in for the nose. Citra and Mosaic. That part is super. You can't miss it. It's a winning combination. The gravity here is about 5.8, 5.7. Depends how much water you put in. I did use totally about 5.1 gallons of water this time, just for reference. It's refreshing. Like I mentioned before in my other flash brewing video, body is different than all grain. It's not bad, it's not horrible, but the body is just different. But in a pinch, if you're a new brewer, obviously I've done this in a very advanced fashion, but this is something that, man, it's crushable. I definitely prefer the cryo hops in more of a dry hop fashion, although the Citra session, that kind of, I wouldn't call it vegetal or grassy, but just that, maybe it was, that went away in about 2 or 3 weeks. It was totally, I couldn't detect it anymore. And that was about as long as that last 5 gallons lasted, 2 or 3 weeks, which is pretty much me drinking it, which is honestly pretty impressive. But as you can see, it's got a proper head on it here. You can tell that it's not, under attenuated. This guy finished pretty dry, I believe 10.07. Yeah, relatively dry, somewhere in there. Nice lacing on the glass, which is something you can definitely expect. It's a really good drinking beer. If you guys are an all grain brewer, I really recommend check this out. Just something different, something you can do super quick. You could do it after a brew day or before, or just not. It takes literally minutes. You just need 5 gallons of water. You could even just use, the Costco gallons, and it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for more of this. Everybody, I really appreciate you a ton. Without you guys, this would not be possible. So remember, I've been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real soon.